So eczema reacts the Asian skin differently?
I believe so. A lot of Filipinos, a lot of people that we know, our family, our friends, suffer from eczema as well. So we've definitely been able to relate to people within the Asian community as well.
So at what age did you get your diagnosed?
When I was in kindergarten, maybe 6 years old, even younger, but all over my neck, all over my arms and my legs. So it was definitely all over my body. Now it just comes whenever I have triggers or flare-ups, and it's more manageable now that we're older. More people are sharing their stories online through social media. You know that you're not alone, and there's so many people out there who are going through the same situation as you. The summer, it was hot. I'd always wear long sleeve sweaters, pants, because I was embarrassed for people to see it.
So does it impact your mental health also sometimes?
We would wear certain clothes to cover it up. We wouldn't want to go outside. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go out in public. When I was in public, I'd be embarrassed.
And how you started this journey of social media having 3.5 million followers?
We started, back in 2015. It all started as a hobby. Like, it was just on the side for fun, and we never knew that it would come to the point where you can do it full time.
Eczema ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਸੋ ਕੀ eczema ਜੋ ਹੈ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਸਕਿਨ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟਲੀ ਰਿਐਕਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ? ਸੋ eczema ਜੋ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਨਾਨ ਕੰਟੇਜੀਅਸ ਇਨਫਲੇਮੇਟਰੀ ਸਕਿਨ ਕੰਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿੰਪਟਮਸ ਹੈ ਰੈਡਨੈਸ ਆਫ ਦਾ ਸਕਿਨ, ਰੈਸ਼ਿਸ ਔਰ ਕਦੀ ਪੇਨਫੁਲ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਟਵਿਨ ਸਿਸਟਰਸ ਕੈਲੀਅਨ ਟਵਿਨ ਸਿਸਟਰਸ ਅੱਜ ਸ਼ੋਅ 'ਚ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਸਕਿਨ ਕੰਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਤੋਂ ਸਫਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਲਾਈਫ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰੂਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ। ਸੋ ਵਾਟ ਇਜ਼ eczema? Eczema is a non-contagious inflammatory skin condition. So sometimes it's rashes on the skin, sometimes it's a redness and itching on the skin. That is eczema. And these symptoms can be painful sometimes and can cause skin color and blisters. Allergy plays a big role in eczema, patient's eczema. So we have twin sisters, Caleon twin sisters, Samantha and Madeline with us. So we'll be discussing their journey because they suffered with this skin condition. So we welcome both of you here in the show.
Thank you for having us. Thank
you. And you have a big followers, 3.5 million on TikTok. And if you can introduce yourself, how you started your social media and your background, please.
So I'm Samantha.
And I'm Madeline.
And we're the Caleon twins. And we're 28 years old. We're twin sisters. And we've been creating content full time since
2015.
15?
We started on TikTok, and now we post on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and that's what we do full time now.
Okay, so we'll be discussing about the eczema because you both of you suffered with this skin condition. So what is eczema? If I start with you, Madeline.
So for us, eczema is when we get rashes on the skin. We got it at a very young age. I don't remember how young we were, but as far back as I can remember, we've always had eczema. It was definitely way worse when we were children.
And even to this day, we have flare-ups of eczema. So we've been dealing with it for a very, very long time.
So eczema reacts the Asian skin differently?
I believe so. I believe that a lot of times I find a lot of Asians within our circle, especially Filipinos, that have eczema. And I feel like it's more predominant in Asian countries. I'm not sure why, but a lot of Filipinos, a lot of people that we know, our family, our friends, suffer from eczema as well. So we've definitely been able to relate to people within the Asian community who have eczema as well.
So at what age did you get your diagnosed?
I'd say when I was in kindergarten, maybe 6 years old, even younger. So it's definitely something that we've been going through ever since we were kids.
So is your prognosis severe, mild or moderate?
Oh, I think I feel
right now it's mild.
Mild.
Okay.
Definitely manageable now that we're older, but when we were younger, it was, I would say, more severe. I'd have it all over my neck, all over my arms and my legs, so it was definitely all over my body. Now it just comes whenever I have triggers or flare-ups, and it's more manageable now that we're older.
Okay, so what part of bodies you feel the eczema?
Mainly the parts where we sweat the most, like our neck, our underarms, the creases, like where your arm is, behind your knees. That's mainly where we get the flare-up, especially during the summer months where we're sweating more. That's where we see more flare-ups happen.
So are there any specific triggers that lead to eczema flare-up?
I feel like for us personally, the heat, especially when we sweat, that's definitely a trigger. But when we were younger, there really was no trigger. We've just always had it all year round. But now that it's more manageable, definitely the weather has a lot to do with whenever it flares up.
So during the spring or the summer season, it get worse, or during the winters it get worse?
I feel like, you know what? I feel like even in the winter, the dryness of the atmosphere also makes our skin drier as well, like contributing to our eczema. But the summer months, I feel like it's worse because we're sweating a lot. We're in the sun. Our skin just doesn't react to the heat very well. So I feel like in the summer, that's when we see the most flare-ups.
So can any one of you can elaborate on the stigma of self-consciousness you felt when you had or have eczema flare-up?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially having eczema at such a young age, I was always so self-conscious about what people would say about my eczema. Even though it was summer, it was hot, I'd always wear long sleeve sweaters, pants, because I was embarrassed for people to see it. And growing up with eczema, now that I'm older, I realize that it's something that you shouldn't be embarrassed about. It's not something that should be looked down upon just because you have eczema.
And I feel like growing up, we thought we were the only ones that experienced it because around us, we didn't see anyone else going through the same things we were. But, you know, as more people are sharing their stories online through social media, you know that you're not alone. And there's so many people out there who are going through the same situation as you. So I feel like growing up, if we had that knowledge that we weren't alone, then it would have made it easier to handle.
So does it impact your mental health also sometimes?
Oh yeah, for sure. As she mentioned, growing up, like we would
Yes.
wear certain clothes to cover it up. It was always on our minds. Like if we had a flare up, we wouldn't want to go outside. We wouldn't. I mean, I feel like sometimes you stayed home from school.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go out in public. When I was in public, I'd be embarrassed, and I really wouldn't be wanting to look at anyone because I know they'd be looking at me, which wasn't the case. I was just so self-conscious. I thought everyone would just be staring at me.
So Samantha, if someone has to find you on social media, which social handles they can find you?
They can find us on Caleon Twins on Instagram and TikTok.
Okay. And how you started this journey of social media having 3.5 million followers?
We started, back in 2015, we just started posting videos for fun.
Okay.
Slowly, we started getting followers, and now we do it full time, and we love what we do, sharing our lives.
It all started as a hobby. Like it was just on the side for fun, and we never knew that it would come to the point where we can do it full time. So yeah, we're very grateful.
So you are twin Caleon sisters, and how you support each other when you suffer from eczema?
Oh, it's like, especially when we were younger, we had no one to go through it with, but having my sister there with me, living together, going through the same thing, it definitely helped me mentally because I knew that I wasn't alone in what I was going through.
And we felt comfortable being our true selves around each other. So if we would remind each other to like reapply our medicine and, you know, take care of our skin. So we're always there to remind each other to take care of ourselves.
So any specific strategies you use to stay positive and to stay positive and supporting each other?
I mean, when it comes to being on social media, there's a lot of, you're opening yourself up to receiving a lot of like hate and negative feedback. But over the years, we've learned that if we stay true to who we are and we know who we are, that outside like factors won't affect how we feel about ourselves.
And Madeline, how you manage your flares up during your busy schedules, and by profession, what you do?
So yeah, we do have pretty busy schedules, but thankfully, since we do mainly work from home, we're able to take care of it. I've learned that covering up the eczema isn't always the best thing. So when it's summer, even though I have flare-ups on my arms, I'll just let it air out, just constantly moisturizing, and yeah, just basically just taking care of my skin, making sure I'm not eating things that would trigger it. And yeah, moisturizing it, especially during the winter, I feel it gets really dry.
Yeah, and I feel like since we were young to this point, there's been so many new things that work or help eczema. So, you know, finding new treatment plans that will work for us, that evolved throughout the years, that has been really helpful as well.
So how do you approach skincare and makeup routines to accommodate your eczema?
So we have very sensitive skin. Like aside from eczema, we also suffer from acne.
Yeah.
So when we find new skincare products or makeup products, we definitely do our research on the ingredients and we do our research on reviews and how people with sensitive skin react to it as well, because, you know, our skin does not handle a lot of products very well.
Thankfully, we don't really have much eczema on our face. We don't really have to deal with makeup going on top of our eczema. But yeah, whenever we do apply products on our skin that are new, we always make sure to test it before applying it on the full area, just to make sure that we're not going to react to it. Just being more knowledgeable at the products that we're using on our skin.
And when it comes to like our body, choosing products that are really hydrating and moisturizing, just so our eczema can become more manageable.
So is the family and friends supportive now?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we have friends that also suffer from eczema as well. So we make it a point to be really supportive about people in our circle and our family that are going through the same thing that we are as well.
So Samantha and Madeline, in your experience, have you noticed that eczema affects in Asian community disproportionately?
Oh yeah, for sure. So for us, because we do have darker skin tone, when we do get eczema, it tends to leave a darker scar, which I feel like is more common with Asian skin tone. So it's definitely has a different effect on darker skin.
Yeah, so if you have a different skin tone, it could affect you differently. It appears differently, especially in Asian skin, she said. And growing up in a Filipino community, in an Asian community, we've seen a lot of people who have eczema as well. And I don't know, from our personal experience, we've seen more Asians who are affected by it than any other culture. And, I think it's a negative and a positive thing. Like, we are able to support each other within the Asian community as well, with other people that we know who have eczema as well.
So if you want to talk about the social media experience, is that a sportive experience you got or a criticism also you got? So if you can share your experience on social media.
I think social media is a great thing, especially when it comes to sharing experiences, not only with eczema, but other things as well. It allows those who feel like they have no support system when it comes to these things to help them realize that there are other people out there like them, and it's something normal that a lot of people go through.
I mean, on social media, personally, I've found creators that share their stories who are dealing with acne and eczema, and they share tips on how they manage it better. So I've definitely picked up a lot of tips and tricks to help me manage my skin conditions better by looking at other people's stories online.
So Madeline, you want to give some advice to the Asian community, those who are suffering with eczema, your tips and advice to them?
Yeah, so like if ever you're feeling like alone and hopeless about what you're going through, just know that you're not alone. It does get better, and there are ways you can manage it. Definitely speaking to dermatologists to get help, because everyone's path to recovery or just helping manage their eczema will be different. It's not always textbook, right? So I feel like speaking to a dermatologist, and yeah, know that you're not alone in this journey.
Yes, and your tips.
And anyone out there who's affected, mentally by eczema. I know we did go through a rough time growing up, going through puberty and having like skin conditions. It's hard, but you have to learn to embrace yourself through every stage of life that you're going through, and that there are people there to support you, and it's not something to be ashamed of, and don't let it affect you too much.
And again, the same question, like how it affects the Asian community differently, eczema?
Based on what she said earlier, eczema appears differently in Asian skin tones. It could be more prominent on some, it could be less prominent on others. For us, I feel like it's more prominent because we do have darker skin. The flare-ups tend to be red when it's active, and then it turns darker when the scarring starts to happen. So
even after the eczema is healed, we're still left with scarring, just because of our skin tone. So we get darker scarring even when it's gone. So that's how it appears on us.
So that is also my question, like eczema, will it ever go away, or like it remains there and we have to be just precaution and measures?
From our experiences, it never went away. We still have it. It just becomes more manageable. Like there's some periods in our life where it's more active, and then some where it's we just have a little bit. So it just really depends on the stage of life we're at.
Okay.
And the person too, because sometimes people outgrow it. So not everyone's eczema journey is the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And thank you very much, Samantha and Madeline. You came and discussed about eczema. So we also want that anyone who is watching you, they should feel positive, and they can experience your journey, what you passed through. Thank you
so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. So these were the twin sisters, Madeline and Samantha. You can watch them on social media at Caleon Twins on TikTok and Instagram. So we discussed about eczema, what is eczema, and how to cope up with this skin condition. If you have any question, you can write down and we'll respond on it.